If you have seen any of my content before, any of my videos or my streams, you know that I like to show appreciation to things that are otherwise unloved or weird. And that is one of the reasons why I bought my very first PlayStation. And isn't she beautiful? Saw her for sale for €10. Got her shipped all the way from Rome, Italy to wherever the hell I am. Space, presumably. It needs a cleanup. The open button sticks. The CD drive doesn't function properly, so it probably needs a replacement. But it looks like it was loved throughout its life, and I'm happy to give it some more love and give it a nice place in my collection. I had a few PS1 games already. Real classics, as you can see. Starwinder, Austin Powers Pinball, Spice Girls game. But I did not have a PS1 controller. I have a PlayStation 2 Slim and controllers, and those will work on it, but it's not authentic, you know. This beautiful specimen deserves better. I also didn't have a PS1 memory card, and unlike the controllers, PS1 games, whether on PS1 or PS2, do need a PS1 memory card. PS2 memory cards are not backwards compatible like that. So then I saw a listing for this. Isn't it beautiful? I don't know, or I didn't know, what Adibou was. But I saw this and I had to have it. It had to belong to me. Adibou, it turns out, is a series, a franchise of edutainment, educational games for young children that's been going since the early 90s. Obviously French-based, but has been translated. You may yourself know it as Adibou with 2 O's. I didn't. I was not exposed to it wherever the hell I grew up. Space, I guess. Which is kind of ironic considering little Adibou here is an alien. So let's look at the controller. As you can see, it's not in peak condition. It's missing an analog nub. But it is a full-fledged PlayStation 1 controller with all buttons, analog sticks, analog buttons, clicky shoulder buttons. And if you look under here, what is that? Presumably connected to this little face that keeps turning around. Yes, that is the vibrator motor, I guess you would call it. The Kid Shock analog controller made in China. Who would have thought? There are other controllers branded with Adibou that look a little more like standard PlayStation controllers with stickers on them. You can see one here that looks kind of cool that comes in a neat little PlayStation-shaped carrying case. Both that controller and this one are associated with a particular game called Adibou and what translates to The Green Shadow, which we're going to try out. And like I said, it came with the memory card, which is just a cheap PlayStation 1 style memory card. I have not seen if there's anything on there, so we're going to explore that as well. So, that is the history. Like I said, my beautiful Bugs Bunny Lost in Time PlayStation is not currently running any games. The CD drive doesn't work, so I'm just going to plug in my PS2 Slim, and we're going to play it like that. And let's also see how good the rumble works. So first we're going to take a look at the contents of the memory card. Who knows what kind of goodies we'll find. Controller seems to work just fine. We have a memory card. We have data for Adibou, which is cool. No date. We have data for Stuart Little 2. And we have data for... The controller is obviously designed for children's hands. I think the age range for this game is 4 to 7. But it's, you know, not terribly uncomfortable. It has a really awful D-pad, as you can see. It's just a circle. The buttons are very small, but otherwise it's okay. So what's interesting about this game is that there is not a whole lot of information about it online. This one has not been translated, as far as I can tell, into any other language. And it's taking a while to start up. What a cute little fella. So we're not going to really play too much of it. I just want to see if I can get the rumble to work. So the game itself, I believe, like most of these games, is just a collection of mini-games. Maybe there's some kind of story. I don't really know what to do or where to go, so I'm just going to click on this little car. So there's a little 3D driving game here, which is very suitable for me. I doubt you can really do a cool drift. But I'm not feeling any rumble. There's no rumbling going on. And I honestly don't really feel like exploring much more of this game. Because I think a little edutainment game for 4 to 7-year-olds might drive me to madness. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in another game and we're going to test a rumble with that. So I have another French game for us here. It's a PlayStation 2 game. It's a very strange game. It's a racing game based on the movie The Fifth Element that is somehow not really branded much as The Fifth Element. So let's give it a shot. One thing about this controller, it's very solidly constructed. Like, it's really meant to take a beating for kids. I mean, obviously it has. But it's not cheap plastic. We're gonna have to do some crashing. Oh! Look at him go! Alright, so that was my little look at this bizarre little controller. Made for children, surprisingly robust. It's a shame that it's missing the one little rubber nub for the joystick, but it's otherwise usable, I guess, as long as you don't need to use this terrible D-pad. It's nice to collect weird little things, is all I can say. And this one is going to get a prominent position in my collection.